One thing I want to bring to your attention, if you didn't pay particular attention to it, this is a great opportunity for you. There is a website called Revive, and it's a parish consulting group. For the next few months, they are offering a free 3-month access to their online courses. And these are excellent courses by presenters that know. Juliana Stans does one on discipleship. I am currently watching one by Patrick Lencioni on leadership. And there are courses for your pastor. There's a course from Mike Schmitz on preaching. These are not just short webinars, courses that come with downloads. They're courses where you watch a little bit of a video and you participate in some reflection and some journaling, and you come back. So you're not interacting with other people, but if you take it as a staff, you can interact with staff, or you can take one as and interact with one another. But there is a lot of great learning out there to be had on the Revive website. It is free. Take advantage of it. It is really worthwhile, worth your time, and I highly recommend it. So make sure you visit that. There's a link to it in the tech newsletter, and I just wanted to make sure that you're all aware of that. One of the other things that came to attention, I've been talking a little bit with Father Stan. He had in the newsletter an article about sharing silent music before you have a closing prayer for the night and intentions. You do need to be careful about what you share, because Facebook will mute you. So you can do that if you're on a Zoom, prayer with people. You can hear whatever music you want. But if you're on Facebook Live, then you will get muted if you share something without a license. So there are a couple of options for that at this time. One, if you have licensing already for music live streamed from your parish mass, you can use music under that license. Number two, if you have a musician in your parish who just wants to play some soft piano and to put some notes together and isn't necessarily playing a composition that they're reading music, but is just playing some soft music, or you have somebody playing guitar, you can record that and you can play that. So that's any content is original content you can play. Third, there is a thing on Facebook called Facebook Creator Studio that is connected to their business pages. You can find your way to that Creator Studio by putting in a Google search about what music you can play on Facebook. And they have quite a few different selections for you. So look there. There are soft classical pieces. If you're just looking to kind of quiet the mood and give something calming, you can look to that. But you do need to be aware of the copyright. And I did talk to Father Stan. I'm going to do some investigating for the next newsletter about other options. And I found quite a few articles already today that are going to be useful. So that'll be in our next edition. But be careful about that. I mean, it's a great thing to do that, to play the quiet music, but you do have to use music that you're licensed for, or they'll just mute it out of your thing. You won't get somebody at your door ready to arrest you. They'll just mute your music out and they'll send you a warning about it. So you have to be careful about how to share music on Facebook Live. But in a Zoom gathering, prayer gathering, you can do whatever you like with that. Okay. Any other announcements that are coming from you that you want us to be aware of before we get into the meat of our meeting? Yes, it's called Facebook Creator, Lisa. Anybody else have announcements? Things that people to know about? Okay, well, this is what we were thinking for today's meeting. In preparation for our meeting, we had you take a peek at the OSV Innovation Talk. They're coming out with a series. First one is out. It is by the CEO of OSV, and hopefully you got a chance to view that. If you didn't get a chance to view it, I want to give you some highlights of it, some things that we need to think about. It's about innovation. It's about inefficient innovation, which sounds counterproductive to what we're usually shooting for. We try to be very inefficient, or very efficient typically, and very structured, and know exactly what our plan is. And he talks about the fact that we are in a new phase, especially now with the coronavirus and what our churches are going to be facing as we begin to reopen, whatever point that is. We need to not be afraid to be creative, to take risks, to step outside the box, redefine, to renovate, and to make church look different for our families. Obviously, we're not going to make our doctrine or our mass or anything like that look different. But the way that we reach the people has to look different. And that's what we've been talking about for the last few weeks. But I think that he really brought this idea to a point of reality for us, because it is one of the biggest, it's one of the companies out there. It's where a lot of us get our faith formation stuff. And here we are talking or hearing from a faith formation company that's used to providing textbooks for classrooms and things like that. And he's saying it's time to reconfigure and reimagine what we can do. And I thought that was a pretty big deal that OSV was sharing that message. That's a pretty big deal for them. They're taking risk and they're stepping outside the box. And I'm hoping we get to move right along with them in that thought. One of the biggest things he talks about is scarcity, a scarcity mindset. Scarcity mindset is thinking that we can't collaborate with the parishes in our vicinity. We can't collaborate with the people in our office because we like our little area and we don't want our area to get infected or taken away, or we don't want to lose control of that. But we need to have an infinity mindset, an infinite mindset. What is our real purpose? So I'm going to invite you to talk about that in your breakout rooms and to share your thoughts about the video. We're going to do that for a little bit, and then we're going to transition a little bit, because these Revive videos, I told you I'm watching Patrick Lencioni and leadership. One of the biggest things that Patrick Lencioni discusses in his idea of reimagining parish leadership is that we can't forget that we are not a corporation, we're ministers. And even though we have a job complete and a structure to define and a mission in front of that we often get very ultra focused on, we need to remember to always invite God into our thought process. So in the second part of our breakout groups this afternoon, we're going to bring some of our fears, some of our concerns to prayer. I've invited a couple of our friends to serve as facilitators because we're a smaller group. We knew that Don would probably get called out. Linda's going to get called out. and we're all going in a lot of different directions. So Jean and Rich and Vicki have offered to help us with the facilitation this afternoon, and they have a task of them. So I invite you to be open to that experience. Let's think about the ways that we can reimagine our parishes, but let's invite God into that process, and let's be people of prayer in that, and let's be vulnerable. Let's be honest about where we are, where we stand, what we're afraid of. We're all in this together, just like that video reminded in the beginning, and we're going to move forward together, and we're going to come out of it together. That's going to take collaboration, and that's going to take an openness to being vulnerable with one another. So Katie is going to pop us of our big group here and into our breakout groups. And I invite you to do some good sharing, and I look forward to seeing you when you come back. Mm-hmm.
I agree, and I think, oh, go ahead, Patty.
Well, I was just going to say, I think one of my concerns is
See the
that
hand raise.
as time goes on, the staff that's still here, still working, is getting a little burnt out. You know, there's only a few of us, and we're covering so many different areas and so many different responsibilities. Yeah. And then to think about what church is going to look like when we can come back, and how is that going to work? And I just wish there was more of a team of number of people. I mean, we have a great team, but it's small. It's really small. And I think every parish probably has that. And it's just like, wow, this is overwhelming sometimes to think about. As our pastor said, it was so much easier to close than it is going to be to reopen. And I think that's so true.
Thank you.
Yeah, kind of going off of that, mine's kind of similar. Like, once we do get going again, whatever that looks like I feel like this is kind of the calm before the storm. Like, I'm in charge of confirmation and youth ministry, and I've just started also at Holy Spirit as well, and we're eventually going to be looking to combine those two youth groups. But I think once we are back somewhat to normal, even if not all the way, I'm kind of worried about confirmation falling at the exact same time as the year starting up, and it's just going to be like really crazy. So I'm a little bit worried about it being overwhelming once we do get back, because like, I don't know, I guess I'm afraid that like things that we have to catch up on, like confirmation, which is really important, along with everything we need to do to start up everything again, is going to all come together at the same time, I guess is what I'm a little worried about.
Okay.
I think what I'm worried about, honestly, is some of our parishes not surviving. And in our smaller rural area where I am, what that would look like. Would I even still have a job? You know, I'm blessed to be working now when others aren't. But in the bigger picture, you know, what will this time do to our churches that were just hanging on by a thread anyways?
Mm-hmm.
I have a concern about what are we going to do now to minister to those who've already left so that we can become a better church when we reopen.
Hello, little one. I think, you know, it's going to be really important in these days ahead as a show of support to one another, and as just really a way to to center us, the work that's ahead. I think this prayer, these intentions, I've written them all down. I've written down everything that you've shared. And I'm gonna put them into a list, and I'm gonna gather them. And I don't want to discount at all how powerful prayer can be. And I really hope that if you don't remember you'll look back at this list, and I'll share it and we'll send it out, that you invite all of these fears and concerns into your prayer life in the days ahead, and think about your brothers and sisters in ministry and the many different concerns we have, or what was shared privately in your small group or what we were able to hear as a large group. And I hope that your parish staff will consider doing that together. Those of you that are still there, hanging on, working hard, trying to bring the best that you can to the people of your parish, I hope that you'll gather and continue to offer these concerns up in prayer. It's a good starting point, and it's a good guidance throughout all of this. That's part, I think, of that inefficiency that they talked about in the OSV talk. Not everything is in our control. Not everything is defined. We have very few answers. We're trying every day to come up with answers to questions of the unknown, but we're diving in to a vast gray area. And I think that we can't isolate it in that. One of the gifts of gathering on this Zoom call every week is that if you are working alone or with a few staff people in your parish, you realize with the faces on the screen that you're not alone. And you realize with the faces on the screen that you can turn to people who share common concerns, and you can start to generate answers to the unknown. That's what I'm hoping that we can all do together. That's what our office is hoping we can all do together. That's what we talk about when we have our daily staff meeting. Our concern is how we can better view, and I appreciate your vulnerability in sharing those fears, because we can't be the best help for one another unless we are our real selves with one another. So I'm sorry about the burnout. I know that that's a reality. I know that we feel that way too. And that was why we really wanted to take this call today, to kind of bring to a different level and to help people feel connected personally and not just professionally. We're on this mission and we're in it together. We're hoping to build more personal connections with you, so you can find one another for support. It's going to be really important in the days ahead. This is going to be part of our ability to succeed and make it through this together, just like our opening prayer, is our ability to connect and web with each other. So I hope we'll do that. And I hope that you'll feel confident in reaching up to any one of us at the office as often as possible, but also reaching out to one another and starting to collaborate. With few staff still present, with few staff people still present in your particular parishes, it's more important than ever that we start figuring out what we can do to help each other, and to be willing to share that space with one another, and to be open to that infinite goal instead of the scarcity situation that they talked about. So any final thoughts, questions, concerns, ideas, prayers you'd like to share before we sign off?
Can we have a copy of the prayer that you used as the opening prayer?
Yeah. Yep. The text along with the song. Yes, I will send that to you. I'm sure that might be Don's original prayer. I'm not sure. He sent it to me. So I will send you his email. He is really great at prayer.
Leslie, are you going to be sending out notes from yesterday's discussion on the VBS?
On a virtual VBS? Yes, we are. What we have decided to start doing is some brainstorming in the different areas. I'll give you a quick update. We are hoping to provide something that is recorded that families can either choose to do on their own time at their own pace, or we can, if we have the ability to connect parishes in small groups, do with a smaller group of children or smaller group of families. But it's going to be something like we call it a bingo board, and Jean brought that idea to us. It's like a menu of opportunities, and it's going to happen throughout the month of July and throughout the month of August, so that it has a VBS feel and a VBS theme and VBS type activities. But they will be there for parents to either watch or to see a PDF of, and church can take it in whatever direction they choose. So if a church wants to give out a kit and they pick up your VBS kit for the week, a church could do that. Or they can just say, this is a file for things that you connect to during the summer months. So we're going to hope to have recordings and notes of science experiments, arts and crafts projects, snacks, service opportunities, etc., that all connect to particular gospel themes. So our goal is to meet again next Wednesday at 2 p.m., same Zoom link, and we are brainstorming. Everybody's been given a different area to brainstorm. Sister Kathleen Wayne is looking into the scriptures and rounding out some of the summer scriptures from the weekends. And hopefully we will have a clear idea, but everybody is welcome to join us on those Zoom calls for imagining virtual VBS. Many hands make light work, so we welcome as many people as would participate in it. We've talked about getting our teen volunteers involved by having them produce some of the videos and do some, like they might film a science experiment at home or something like that, so that our children still to see the older teens participating. All we'd have to do with that is have them sign a release, just like we've used the teens in videos that we used for NCYC and things like that. So that's a possibility, but that's where our discussion went yesterday, and it was very fruitful. So we're off to a good start. We're brainstorming now. Feel free to join us next week.
Could you send that? Could you send the link? Could you send the link for that, the meeting link for that?
Yep, I'll send it. I'll send out things to everybody with the meeting link. Okay.
I do have another question.
Yeah.
I've never been involved in VBS, and our parish doesn't have one. That since I've been here, they haven't. would it be all right if I joined to find out what it's all about and
Sure.
learn a little bit
Yep.
about it? Okay, that would be great.
Absolutely.
Also, is there any discussion around summer intensive programs or just the VBS?
We didn't get into summer intensive yet, but we are you know, the goal was to talk about both. We spent a long time trying to figure out what VB might look like, and we can always shift gears and talk about that, the summer intensive, with whoever wants to jump on the call. We could even do breakout rooms if people are more interested in talking about summer intensive than VBS. Or we can have 2 separate calls. This is really to help you. So whatever vehicle is going to help you figure out a journey on that, we're there to try to facilitate it.
Deborah, we are doing a summer intensive, so I'd be happy to discuss that with you either offline or at the meeting next week.
I'm sorry, who is this?
This is Jean Mooney from St. Joseph's in Penfield.
Oh, Jean, thank you.
Hey.
I'm calling from, or I'm from St. Charles.
Oh, yes. Excellent.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. If there are no further questions, we will sign off for the day. I really appreciate, I love seeing you all, and I appreciate sharing the ministry with you. And I hope that this is valuable for you. And be looking for the family zone. I did get a message from Don that he is filmed and set and he's editing now. So just to let you know that we have a special message to mothers from Bishop Matano in this week newsletter. It kicks off with that. And we were waiting all day, Bishop, to get out of a meeting so that he could talk to the mothers. Bishop Matano has a great heart for families, and we love it when he talks directly about parents and raising children. So we're very excited that he's going to be part of the newsletter. So that newsletter will go out as soon as the video is edited and popped in. So be looking for that. Okay? All right. Take care, everybody. Be well.
Thank you, Leslie.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye. Oh, I forgot to mention the tech thing. I forget about that. You got to remind me.
I know, I'm
Okay.
sorry. I was going to pop in, but then I forgot.
I forgot. Okay.
Yes.
I just thought
Thank
of it
you.
when I saw you. I'm like, oh, shoot. All right.
Yeah.